Hello, Wanda. Chopper desk. Yes, just wanted to check in. Let me double check. Are we okay on fuel to stay here till 1, Ned? Yes, we're good for that, Wanda. Okay. Okay. All right, got it. Thank you. Most likely.
Congress in 1976. It was a big transformational class of members of Congress. It was fantastic. Fantastic. People have compared this class in terms of size and depth and energy and enthusiasm and entrepreneurship and all the rest, diversity, as a similar class. The reason I bring it up is in 1976, when they came, not one of those freshmen got a gavel, chaired a subcommittee in the first year. In this freshman class, 18 freshmen chair subcommittees in the Congress. We view that as something spectacular. 10 women. Where's Stephanie? 10 women. Thank you, Stephanie, for helping me make that happen. And 8 men. But this is remarkable. To think that the woman who is I'm one of the first, I know you heard from Sharice this morning, and she's wonderful, but and Deb Haaland, who is one of the other 2 first Native American women to come to the Congress. Deb Haaland is now the chair of the Natural Resources Committee Public Lands Subcommittee. That is a very big deal, and it's a very big deal in the Native American community as well. So we're very, very proud of them, all of them, the beautiful diversity of it all. 106 women in the Congress, 91 of them Democrats. Thank you, Stephanie. Isn't that remarkable? 60% of 60% of our caucus, women, people of color, LGBTQ. 60% of our caucus. We're very thrilled. We wish the other side would have some diversity. But having said that, we say in our caucus, our diversity is our strength. Our unity is our power. As our power. And that power is recognized, to get to your question, by this President of the United States. He knows that we will act together. Whatever our differences on one thing or another, when it comes to it, we build our consensus and we make our plan and we go forward together. So this morning we went to the White House, hopeful that the president would participate in the conversation as a follow-up to a previous conversation we had about infrastructure. We shared our priorities in a previous meeting. We came to some agreement, $2 trillion. We came to how it would be divided, 80% federal, 20% local. In any event, today was the day he was supposed to tell us what he would be willing to support and pay for all of that. Instead, in an orchestrated, almost to a oh poor baby point of view, he came into the room and said that I said that he was engaged in a cover-up and he couldn't possibly engage in a conversation on infrastructure as long as we are investigating him. Now, we've been investigating him since we took the majority, so there's nothing new in that. But and then he had a press conference in the Rose Garden with all this sort of visuals that obviously were planned long before I said most currently that he was engaged in a cover-up. So it's really sad. And here's the thing, and I told this to the room when he came in and made that statement, and then he walked out, and you got the Secretary of the Treasury, you got all of this, that, and the other thing, and a distinguished group of members from the House and Senate, Democrats. Said, 200 years ago, Thomas Jefferson tasked his Secretary of the Treasury, the other one was standing right there, to develop a infrastructure initiative for America, to build into the Louisiana Purchase, the Lewis and Clark expedition. It was the Erie Canal, the Cumberland Road, all those kinds of things for America. 100 years later, Teddy Roosevelt instituted his infrastructure initiative, the National Park Service, the Green Infrastructure of America. And so and I said to them, and I said to the press after, we want to give this president the opportunity to do something historic for our country. While there are those in our family who think, why would you work with him if he, and basically he's saying back to me, why would I work with you if you're investigating me? But the fact is, something happened there. So I pray for him, and I pray for the United States of America. It's really, he walked away. Whether he ever intended to honor what he said before remains to be seen. But Democrats believe in building the infrastructure of our country, mass transit, roads, bridges, broadband into rural America, into underserved areas in our cities, wastewater, clean water, infrastructure of the satellites so that we can have precision farming. There's so many needs. And we thought we had some level of agreement, but you never know with this President of the United States. So that's what happened this morning. It was very, very, very strange. But the press says to me, were you surprised? And I said, I say to you, surprised? Nobody could ever be surprised at anything that happens here.
So, as a follow-up to that, can I just ask you, why do you think you in particular seem to have so much leverage or ability to drive Donald Trump to this level of distraction, to run out of an infrastructure meeting? He actually hasn't come up with a nickname. I mean, why do you think you have done what others haven't been able to do, which is throw him so off balance?
Well, I think I alluded to it earlier when I transitioned to your question. He recognizes the unity of our caucus. And that is a very big deal because he isn't about that. You know, he's not about consent. And also, on his side of the aisle, he didn't see that kind of unity. So I think he sees the fact that we are united as something that he has to contend with, to deal with. And that is, as the leader of the House Democrats, that Speaker of the House, he has to deal with me officially, but also in terms of negotiating as the leader of the party, that unity gives me leverage.
Excellent. I mean, you've had a busy day, a lot of important meetings. Obviously, the issue of the investigations and what you said, you know, that he's engaged in a cover-up is a top of news. You have eloquently laid out the constitutional role of Congress in oversight over the executive branch. With a Trump administration that is defying and trying to defy the subpoenas and fighting every effort to hold it accountable, how does Congress fulfill this oversight role moving forward? And what do you say to those who believe an impeachment inquiry will give Congress what it needs to hold him accountable?
Well, that's a big, long question. But thank you for that. I know you heard from Adam Schiff this morning, and he's one of our 6 chairs who are leading the way on what we are doing. First of all, let me just say, we take an oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Democrats take that oath seriously, and we are committed to honoring our oath of office. I'm not sure that our Republican colleagues share that commitment, and I'm not sure that the President of the United States does, too. So, in light of the fact that the beauty of the Constitution is a system of checks and balances, 3 co-equal branches of government, that's why he's co-equal branches of government, a check and balance on each other. The Constitution spells out the duties of Congress, and one of them is oversight of the President of the United States. Another one of them is to impeach the President of the United States. So we have, and let me just be as brief as succinct as possible in this regard. We have 6 chairmen. You heard from Adam Schiff this morning, who's having a success with getting documents from the Justice Department by the actions the committee has taken. You have Elijah Cummings, chair of the Government Reform Committee, who had a big success this week with one of his cases, the Mazur decision, which clearly spells out that it's Congress's responsibility and right to investigate the other branches of government. He also has a good, it's not our case, but it is a case that falls in his domain, the emoluments case, That's the second committee. Third committee, you have a Financial Services Committee. Maxine Waters is the chair. Maxine has laid out an indictment, a series of questions back and forth with the administration when they kept telling her, we're not answering you because you're the minority. And now she's the chair of the committee. Today, as we sit here, we're in court in New York with the Deutsche Bank case, insisting that we get the documents from Deutsche Bank, and we think we will win that case. So again, we're on that path. The investigation that she did, the investigation that Adam Schiff did, the investigation that Mr. Cummings did are reaping benefits, and more to come from those committees. And then we have Jerry Nadler, the chair of the Judiciary Committee, which has the overarching impeachment responsibility, and what they are doing with the subpoenas, where we might go with contempt of Congress and the rest there, and that we're on the path there. But you have to, in order to have an investigation of any kind, if you want to call it impeachment or whatever, you have to have the subpoena, you have to go to court, you have to develop your case. Then we have the Richie Neal, chair of the Ways and Means Committee. The law could not be clearer. The IRS shall turn over the documents to the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. And so we feel that we'll be in strong, that's the clearest possible case. Okay. So then one more is Foreign Affairs, which has had hours of testimony from Secretary Tillerson. I've been out this morning, so I haven't heard what some of the results of that are yet. But understand that, intelligence, we're getting the documents. Government reform, we've won the court case, 2 actually. Financial services, we're in court right now, and this is a very good case for us, all built on investigation. Ways and Means, and again, the Judiciary Committee. So we're very proud of the work that our leadership on those committees, the work that they have done, and they have taken us to a place where we get more information to predicate the next series of actions. But this is why I think the president was so steamed off this morning, because the fact is, in plain sight, in the public domain, this president is obstructing justice, and he's engaged in a cover-up. And that could be an impeachable offense. Ignoring the subpoenas of Congress was Article 3 of the Nixon impeachment. Article 3, he did not honor the subpoenas of Congress. So it's not just the substance that we're after and we want to have to give the truth to the American people. But in striving to get that, the intervention that the obstruction that the administration is engaged in is, as they say, the cover-up is frequently worse than the crime.
Very true. I think there's an interesting paradox, because there's a lot of people who talk in the press about